Guys, James here today and welcome back to another Sims 4 house building video. Today we are doing, as the title suggests, a luxury waterfront home. So this was something that I thought would be a lot of fun to build because I do a lot of smaller houses just because, first of all, I like building smaller houses. They're also quicker to do, so that is one thing. And because I think I've mentioned this in the past before, I tend to get, like, especially when I do larger homes. I mean, this one's not too big. It's like a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom home. So it's not colossal by any means, but it's bigger than stuff that I would usually do. And yeah, like I said, I mentioned in the past that I get bored of doing bigger builds. Like if I do something that's too big, I'll just end up getting bored of it and not want to finish it or keep working on it. Or I just get stuck and I'm not sure what to do next. And then I essentially just end up losing any motivation for it. But this one, not too big, but I was having a lot of fun with it because much like my previous build that I did, which was the, what the hell was it? I don't even remember now. It was, it was just like the modern eco home. So it was like a really nice modern contemporary home. And I did a lot of interesting things with objects and furniture and placement of things and a few different techniques in that one. I did a similar thing in this. I did a lot of stuff that was different, some new things as well. I even make somewhat of a beach in this build, which is pretty cool. I tweeted a picture of it a little while ago, and it's cool. You'll see how I make it in this video. It's pretty. It's not as crazy as you think, but it looks really good, and that's all that matters. So yeah, this build was. I think I did a Google image search for like modern waterfront. Oh no, I think maybe it was even Sydney waterfront home. So like a local one here. It might have been Sydney Waterfront Homes or something like that. And I found a house that had this exterior on the back that was looking over like the water or the beach or the whatever it was, the ocean. And it just looked really, really nice. I'm like, damn, that looks nice. So I took the back facade and then I sort of just did everything else. I made so this back sort of area is kind of similar with the balconies and all that, the little pool as well. Actually, I don't know if that build had a pool. Maybe it did. I can't remember. But anyway, I put a pool anyway. That's usually what you end up having. You have a pool that's like almost an infinity pool looking over to the ocean so that you don't have to swim in the ocean all the time, but you have a pool that's nice and clean right there. So I did that, and then just doing some details around the build, trying to choose colors. See, I wanted to use this sort of sandstone color for these bits because that's kind of what the original build had as well, like the real life one. And I did it at first, but I don't think it ended up having enough contrast. Like the color didn't seem right. Like the lighting in the game made it look weird. I felt like it should have been, like it's not yellow enough. It kind of almost just looks like a weird grayish. It doesn't have enough color. Like it needs to be more vibrant. It didn't have enough, and that was the problem. But I think I don't know when I changed that. At some point later in the build, I can't remember when. And just down the side here, just doing a little pathway that goes around to the front. So actually, this whole build needs to be raised up onto foundation in a little bit. But I'm actually just building the house first because it's easier because I didn't know what shape I needed it to be. So I find it much easier to just build like everything on the ground first because with The Sims 4, you can very easily just add foundation whenever you want. So pretty simple to do that. Adding a bunch of windows here for the main living space. The interior actually ends up being really, really cool. So this video, we're only doing the build though. There will be a part 2 that has the furnishing, but you get to see a lot of the sort of structure and the architecture on the interior, which is going to be really cool, especially when it comes around to the furnishing. So stay tuned for that video coming out soon as well. I've already done it, so it's not going to be one of those part series where I say, hey, this is a multi-parter, and then I just never do it. Like the hotel, Big Brother house, many other stuff. There's probably other things that I haven't finished as well. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, this is already done, so there will be a part 2 like in the next day or so. But yeah, so the sides there, I did these like little half walls like out of stones, almost like you could imagine it there being another house next door, but you can't have houses that close in this game. But I put it there as it's sort of like little fence, little I don't know, bit of privacy, I guess. Then around the front, as I typically do, I do this a lot, especially on like more modern homes. I do smaller windows. Like on the ground floor at the front. Although having said that, you'll see the front door actually ends up with a lot of large windows that are kind of crazy, so don't worry about that. Don't mind that. Well, the front door, I do like a lot of nice stuff around that to do something a little bit different, a little bit new. I think I do a minuscule amount of furnishing, I think, in this part, because we mostly just finished the build, and then I placed a few items, I think, on the the balcony at the back, or the patio at the back, sorry, I should say, just here and there. And also, so because this house was largely designed around the rear, like the exterior at the back, I was like, I need to make the front also look interesting. Like, it's gonna have something going on up here. So we added this little pop out section up the top, which ends up being quite nice. And I'm just centralizing a lot at the moment because it wasn't in the center. I just built it wherever, and then I moved on later on, and now it is centered, so it's quite good. And then just sort of using this fence here to outline the section of foundation that's going to be raised up. As you can see, I just did that, but I believe I make it a little bit bigger than that too, because it looks a bit weird just being in the middle like that. So actually, you'll see it in a little while. I'm trying to use a foundation as just, well, I don't want it to look like foundation. It should just look like natural landscape, except at the front, actually. At the front, it is kind of designed to just look like a bit of foundation, but then around the sides, I try to make it look a little natural by hiding a lot of the edge of the foundation with plants and all that kind of stuff, which will be a lot easier to explain sort of once we get to it as well. Oh, by the way, this is already available for download on the Sims 4 gallery, so if you do want to check it out, if you search for The Sim Supply, the same as my username here on YouTube, just without the spaces, you can find it there. I'll also link it down below, so click the link in the description, that will take you to the gallery, and you can just download it from there as well. So it's pretty easy. Now, I gotta say, this definitely would have been probably, in terms of landscaping, it would have been easier in The Sims 3, no doubt, because we can't do any terrain editing. We can't actually do any proper split leveling or anything like that. But I used a few tricks of the trade here and there. Really wish I could have had an infinity pool right up to the edge, because you can't have swimming pools at different heights next to each other. So I can't like that. So that's why I had to have that gap between the swimming pool and the other swimming pool, which is supposed to be the ocean. Like, obviously the bit down the bottom is supposed to be the ocean, you know, that's kind of what it's supposed to look like anyway. Then I'm using these half walls to create the illusion. It's an illusion. It's not a magic trick. The illusion of, I guess, not half wall, what am I saying? The illusion of like split leveling and all that kind of stuff. Make it look like it's kind of actually done in an interesting way. And then, because I wanted the half walls to be flat on the top, and I decided I just turn them into some planters, and I actually end up putting some little bits of, I guess I think they're in the flower category, but they're not really flowers. I don't know what they're actually called, but you'll see it in a minute. You'll see what I'm talking about. But yeah, so round by the house, this is supposed to look like a little bit more man-made, sort of going into the water with a straight edge. Just supposed to be a bit that sort of juts out over the edge. And then around the side of the house here, you can see that I'm trying to, that's the first stage of me blending stuff in. It's just putting a few plants around the place like that. Oh, look at it. It's beautiful. So there's a lot of this, of just placing stuff over and over. This build took me, I think it was about 5 hours in total, because there's a lot of stuff to place, a lot of little tricks to do here and there. Yeah, so I used, like, this is what I was talking about. I use those little things there, just raise them up with move objects. I do have a tutorial on that. I don't know what it's called. Probably just, well, if you just search the Sims 4 build mode tutorial, like on YouTube, I think my, beginner basic one comes up somewhere. I don't know. That's got literally everything in it. Like, that's got all the build tricks that you'll need to get started. So you should check that out when you get a chance. I was really hoping that they had, so I'm changing the pool trim there, as you can see. I was trying to make it brown to match, because I was just having a little wooden section there, which I thought contrasted all the white house, the white sort of contemporary home really, really nicely. Which was actually a running theme in this house. It's supposed to be almost like white, clean, really contemporary, but then also mixed in with natural wood tones throughout the house was kind of the idea. And you'll see that sort of come around. So in the original build, like the real house, they had, so the roof at the top was actually like a wooden, I think it was like a wooden slat roof, but you can't change the color of the bottom of a roof, which is really annoying. I wish you could change ceilings and the underside of a roof and all that. So I actually just use these things, scale them up as like a little wooden lattice thing, and just put it underneath that roof, which it worked quite well. Like, it still gets the same effect, so I was quite happy with that. Now, because this pool is quite long and it's quite like, it's not very wide, I thought it's an ideal like lap pool to swim laps in, so I put that little line marker down the bottom. So I thought that was just a nice little detail to add in. Now, there is a way, I could have looked it up, but I didn't. There is a way to actually add windows to foundation, doing some weird build mode trick. I don't know if it still works, but I remember seeing it a long time ago. And I thought it would have been cool if we could have got windows next to the pool, so it almost was more like an infinity pool. But couldn't quite get that. Oh, by the way, the little glass fence around the pool, which is not normally available in the fences, you can actually unlock that, I think, by... I don't know which cheat it is. It's either... might be the free build cheat, potentially. Or maybe it's just the unlock entitlements cheat, because it's actually the topping of a half wall. But if you use that cheat, you can actually unlock it and use it as a regular fence. And it was like perfect for around the pool. So, like I said, the front, or I guess the wooden section just there to our left at the back of the house is supposed to be like the man-made section. Then I'm trying to make the rest of the coastline look a little bit more natural. Obviously, it's very hard with vertical walls everywhere in the Sims 4, but doing my best to just sort of blend it in using a bunch of rocks. I was thinking if I could make like a... because I wanted different heights in this water. So I want like a shallow end and all that. And I was like, what can I use to create like a floor? Then I remembered I did an apartment complex build. It's a 4-part build series here on my channel, which you should check out because it's pretty awesome. The apartment complex build. I did a lot of studio apartments that had a lot of move object stuff, and I used those same lane markers from the swimming pool just before. If you scale them up, and you can move them around, and actually it kind of looks like it's different levels of sand in the water now, like at different depths. And I think that actually worked really, really well. The interesting thing is, if you take those out of the water, they're actually like a pink, but under the blue of the water, it works just fine. So I was quite happy with that. So I was like, all right, hey, whatever works. Yeah, so like I said, use those to create different depths, which was the initial stages of me figuring out how I could, or if it was possible, to make a nice sloping smooth beach, because as far as I'm aware, you can't put a roof in a basement or in a pool, like, because it's below, if it's below ground level, I don't think the game lets you do it, which is kind of annoying, because that would have made it a lot easier if they just allowed that. But you'll see how I do it. I mean, I'm not going to try and explain it before we do it, because it's pretty simple. You'll see exactly how I do it. It doesn't take very long. Then just getting some outdoor dining here. Yeah, so there's a little bit of furnishing, as you can see. We're just doing some of the outdoor stuff. Not too much, but little bits here and there. And I thought this really nice wooden table was a really good exterior one. And then just doing one of my classic lattice work sort of shades, which again I thought fit really well with this build. It is a modern look. It's got the wood tones to it, so it's like tying in with that theme that we're trying to go with there as well. Really rich, really dark. Just trying to find some interesting. I was thinking if there was any other cool columns that I could use instead of just standard columns. Turns out there wasn't anything else I wanted to use, so I just used the standard ones. I give up in a second. There we go. I was like, all right, I tried. I tried to find something different. It didn't happen. And then using this really nice sort of umbrella and these two, I think they're from Spa Day, the sort of massage chairs as recline. I really wish we just had lounge chairs, like the lounge recliners from every other Sims game ever, except maybe Sims 1. I think it was Sims 2 and 3. If we could have those back, that'd be great, because that'd be perfect for out here. And then I actually scaled down that's I think there's a dining table, but I scaled it down because it was too big and I wanted to use it as like a little side table for those. And I put a little drinks tray on it, so I thought that was quite nice. Using those wicker chairs, actually, which I really, really like, from I think it's the Laundry Day stuff pack that have just come out. And then on the table, I wanted to do like a little arrangement of plants. So I scaled down a few items and then just used a bit of move objects to sort of place them around in different locations on the table, which again, I think turned out really, really nice. And then we just got a small barbecue area here. Nothing too extravagant with the barbecue, just a barbecue and an outdoor bin, which is good because that means we already have a bin in this build and I don't have to forget it, which is great news. So we've got an outdoor bin. Now, this is something I really enjoyed doing as well. I found that a lot of the annoying alien plants and foliage that I swear no one ever uses for anything because they're disgusting. They're really, really ugly if you use them anywhere else. Turns out they're really good for creating like a little coral reef. I was like, you know what? This actually looks kind of good. It looks like there's potentially like some coral in that growing through here. It looks really good underwater. I was like, okay, we can work with this. So it's just now a matter of me placing a million of these things under here, just to create somewhat of a nice little effect and a little bit more natural. So we still obviously have that sort of straight edge of the wood going into the water, but then I use, again, some more of those lane markers to create like a sand level that's a bit higher than the base of the pool. I could have used the fountain tool, but I also wanted the water to be deeper in some sections, so that's why I didn't. I don't know how swimmable this pool is, by the way. I haven't actually tested swimming in this large pool. I mean, the regular pool in the house should be fine, but this one, because it's got so much stuff in it all over, I feel like the Sims probably won't be able to use it. They might in some locations, but a lot of it's probably inaccessible and is not going to work particularly well. Anyway, just a matter of putting a million zillion rocks around everywhere, but I think it's starting to look really cool. I was playing around with different water tones. It turns out it didn't look very good, so I left that. Creating another little beach on the side, because we got a beach on the right hand side. I'm going to get a beach on the left as well, or depending on which way you look at the house. I don't know. I figured we should probably have access to this area because there's no easy way to get over here. So I'm just creating a new little entrance section here from the back balcony or patio. I keep calling it a balcony. It's not a balcony. From the back patio, just adding some stairs in here to connect that all around. It just tucks in quite neatly there. I thought that worked out really, really well. With no issues at all. Look at that, it's beautiful. And then, yeah, just covering up this edge. Like I said, I wanted to make sure like some of these edges looked a little bit more natural because there's just no way to make a vertical concrete edge look like terrain unless you cover it with plants. And I was playing around here because like I said earlier on in the video, this sort of sandstone color it didn't have the right tone for me. It was too like, it doesn't have enough yellow in it and I wasn't really liking it. So I was like, what if I cover it in plants? I was like, no, I don't like that. It's like, what if I just, you know, change up the tone a little bit, see if I can get one that looks maybe a bit better. And I think, yeah, I settled with that color. I don't know if I changed it later. I can't remember, but I've gone with that for now. So around this side, here we go. This is the beach. Using these roof trim, I don't know, sign things. I don't know what they are, but I figured out if you scale them up and put a million of them next to each other, you get a perfect slope going down into the water. I was like, oh my God, this works out so well. Look at this. It's really, really, it actually surprisingly well. And then a lot of people were like asking me how I did it. It's really not that crazy, but I didn't want to say it before the video because I was like, you know what, we'll keep it in the video. We have a secret beach. And you'd think, because when you overlap a lot of items like this, they can sometimes like visually glitch out and all that. They do a little bit, but it's really not so bad. And then I just put a few rocks down the bottom to blend it in a bit. Obviously, the sides of it are still vertical walls, but looking from the right angle, it can look really, really cool. So I was pretty happy with that. And it does create a nice little sloping beach. I don't know if it's usable there. It probably isn't. I feel like those items would get in the way of the Sims, so they wouldn't actually be able to get in the water there. But it's cool. Cool nonetheless. So there you go. And just a bunch more plants around this way. Trying to really give it almost a tropical sort of beach vibe. I imagine this kind of house being like in Sydney or something, because that's kind of what it was based off. I think it was a Sydney house. I can't remember now. It might have been something else, but it sort of has all that kind of foliage. But although if it was in Sydney, there wouldn't be all this side like extra room to the left and right of it. But it's a Sims, so we have loads of room, which is great. Just putting a bunch of trees, making it really look quite vibrant, but also leaving enough open space on the beach. So if you want to add some items in there, you could add in like a bonfire or something, which would be pretty easy to go ahead and do without too much trouble at all. Just a lot of overlapping of plants and scaling them up and rotating them and putting them in different places so it doesn't look too same. Because if you just have a lot of the same plant everywhere, it can look a bit repetitious? Repetitive. That's, yeah, repetitious. What the hell is that? It can look a bit repetitive. So by rotating them obviously all slightly a little bit and just getting a bunch of slightly different sizes as well. Like these palm trees, because there's two sizes of palm tree. There's a super tall one and then the regular tall one. And if you scale them, they scale slightly differently. So you get some different sizes and all that, which is pretty nice. I really wish we just had like a beach umbrella. Because I wanted a really nice umbrella that just sticks in the sand down here so we could have a little beach setting. But that umbrella was so didn't fit in. I was like, why would that be on the sand? So instead, I kind of did these two little towels, and then that's a little bucket that I found. I was like, that's kind of cool. We'll put a bucket in there. And then I just got one of the eskies from Outdoor Retreat there, so you can hang out on the beach, have a juice, cold juice, and it'll be all good. So again, change the color of those walls. Now it's like a wooden, those wooden walls there instead, and I'm lightening up that shade as well. I'm just trying to change the tones around a little bit. I wasn't sure if I was exactly happy with everything yet, but I liked the wood by the water. I thought they were quite nice, and just changing that as well. We're keeping the sort of side walls that are that sort of sandstony color, but I think the main accent in the middle at the back I wasn't too happy with, so that's why I changed it to the wood. And I'd also tied it all in together as well, and a little pathway up to the front of the house. So I think this is where we're nearly to the point of I think trying to figure out the layout of the build as well. Oh, actually, I do something kind of cool here because I really wanted to have like a little fence thing leading up to the front of the house, but you can't do fences on the edge of the lot. So I used these things from Spa Day, which are like little floor trim things. I have no idea. I just placed them in, raised them up, and created like this little custom fence. At the moment, they're floating, but what I did is I got a couple of fences in the middle, so it looks like there's a bit of structure in the middle. Then you have almost this little modern double stacked fence that goes around like a little ribbon kind of fence. I don't know. I thought it looked kind of cool. It's just a little detail. Most people that play the lot will probably never notice. Although if you've watched this video, there you go. So now we're doing the layout. The main area of the house, as you can see here, is going to be a 2-level atrium type of build with a walk, like a catwalk up the top for the bedrooms, which I thought was really quite interesting. So there on the left, that little diagonal room bit is actually going to be a bathroom, which again, I actually really thought it was quite cool. That was quite cool. We got a catwalk up the top, got the stairs joining up to that, and then over to the bathroom. But the idea was I wanted it to be open. I was trying a lot of different things here, maybe close it off with some windows and all that. I was like, it's just not working. I think having it open as one big space was the best way to go, and that's what we end up doing. But I think at the moment, I'm just trying to figure out the layout because I had to just shift this little catwalk a little bit because I needed to be able to fit in, because I want to have an ensuite bathroom for the master bedroom, and have access to because they wanted the bathroom there. And yeah, anyway, I just had to move the hallway, get to all fit in. I had to do a sub hallway there to fit 3 bedrooms on the other side because I didn't want to just have 2 bedrooms because it would have been, the size would have been all off. But we've got 3 double bedrooms that can actually fit on the other side. I think only 2 of them end up being double bedrooms, but plenty of room, so quite good. But just going through doing some lights now so we can make sure that we have everything looks good and it's all lit. When everything's lit up, it's much easier to work with. I always do that. It's like literally the first thing I always do. And I was playing around with this thing. There's anything interesting I could do, but I just made all the walls white and then we're going to go from there. But yeah, so we're going to do all the furnishing in part 2 of this, which will be coming out, I think, in a couple of days. So not tomorrow, but the day after, or if it's in the future, it's already out. So go check it out. It'll be linked in this video and the description and everywhere. So you should be able to find it. But yeah, so the living room here, I wanted it to be sunken. I wanted it to be like a split level living room. So you walk downstairs to the living space, which I thought was pretty nice. It also makes the place feel even bigger because you're going down lower and it's just, there's loads of room, loads of room. So we have the main living area there. Up this side, we're going to have another bathroom downstairs. To the left is like a music room that we do. And off to the right is like a parlor kind of thing, like an office, home office, computer, bookcases, all that kind of stuff. Is going to go in there. And then on the other side is the kitchen and dining to the left there, which really opens up the space and makes it look really interesting. I got to say though, some of the furnishing of this, it's beautiful. You gotta check it out to believe it. The furnishing is off the charts. Though I do a lot of really interesting things with the master bedroom and the kitchen. So like a lot of new things that I've never done in The Sims before. And I don't know if it looks, it looks really good. I don't know how well it's actually going to work in gameplay, but it's definitely something that's really, really interesting. But oh, look, no, we've started furnishing, but it's blurred out. That's because that's available in part 2, which you should go check out on screen right now if it's already there. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to check out some more videos. And I'll see you next time, and have an awesome day.